Here's a possible episode script. If you own a home around Dayton, you've got about 10 weeks. That's the honest framing, and I want to start there before we get into any of the weather talk. If you've got an open crack in your driveway, a flaked-out edge on a slab, or a downspout that's dumping water right onto your concrete, that's a right-now job, not a spring job, right now. Because that window slams shut the moment overnight temperatures in the Miami Valley stop climbing back above freezing, and once that happens, your options get a whole lot more expensive. So why am I bringing this up today? Forecasters have been watching the possibility of a strong El Niño heading into the 2026-27 winter, and there's been some coverage lately about what that might mean for Ohio. And I want to be straight with you about what that reporting actually says, because it's easy to overread it. Nobody can promise you a specific December in Dayton. What El Niño does is shift the jet stream, and its influence on North America mostly shows up in winter, not late summer, so it's a signal, not a schedule. Fair enough. But here's the thing, and this is the part most homeowners get backwards. People hear milder winter and they relax. They figure the driveway catches a break this year. Concrete doesn't work that way at all. Your slab isn't damaged by cold. Let me say that again, because it's the whole ballgame. Cold by itself doesn't hurt concrete. What hurts concrete is water. Water soaks into the surface, it freezes, it expands, it thaws, and then it does the whole thing over again. That's a freeze-thaw cycle. And every single one of those cycles pries an existing crack just a little bit wider. So think about what a mild winter actually looks like in Dayton. You're sitting around 30 to 38 degrees. You've got regular rain. You've got wet snow that melts in the afternoon and refreezes overnight. That combination produces way more freeze-thaw cycles than a winter that just locks in and stays frozen through February. A hard, cold, dry winter is honestly easier on your concrete than a sloppy, borderline one. That's the part nobody tells you. And you know what that damage looks like when you walk outside in March. Hairline cracks that have opened up into quarter-inch gaps, flaking and pitting across the surface, usually worst right near the garage apron, because that's where the water and the salt collect. Slabs that don't sit flush at the joints anymore. Steps and walkway sections that heaved over the winter and now catch your toe on the way to the mailbox. If you've owned a home in Kettering or Huber Heights for 10 years, none of that is news to you. You've seen it. The point I'm making is that most of it is preventable, and the prevention work has a deadline attached to it. So let's talk about what actually has to happen before the freeze, and why the calendar matters so much. Sealants and patching materials need above freezing temperatures to cure properly. Most of them also want dry conditions for a day or more on either side of the work. That's the whole reason late summer and early fall is the practical window in Ohio. You're not just picking a convenient time, the chemistry needs it. Roughly, here's how the season lays out. August is for fixing grading and downspout runoff, because that stops water from pooling against your slabs all winter long. August into September is when you repair cracks and spalled edges, so they cure fully in warm, dry conditions. September into October is resealing driveways and walkways, which keeps meltwater out of the surface pores. October into November is your last reliable window to replace failed slabs and sections before the ground goes hard. And before the first salt goes down, if you've got new concrete, you switch your dacer. Now I want to push on one of those items, because it's the one people skip. Start with water, not with the concrete. Sealing a slab that's sitting in a puddle is just a wasted weekend. You'll feel productive and you'll have solved nothing. Figure out where the water actually goes first. Next time it rains hard, put a jacket on and walk your property. I'm serious. Look for downspouts discharging within a foot of the driveway. Look for low spots holding standing water. Look for soil that's settled below the edge of the slab. And if the ground slopes toward your house or toward a slab, that's the first thing to correct before you spend a dime on sealer. On the sloped lots you see around Beavercreek and Centerville, a properly built retaining wall often solves a drainage problem that no amount of surface repair is ever going to fix. You can patch that driveway every spring for a decade, or you can fix the reason it keeps failing. Now let's talk money, because that's really what this comes down to. A crack sealed in September is a small job. That same crack, after a full winter of water working its way in and freezing, that's often a full panel removal and replacement. Same crack, wildly different invoice. Fall is genuinely the cheapest time to handle crack filling, patching, and surface restoration. The material cures on schedule, crews aren't fighting frozen ground, and everything just goes faster. It's also easier to get on the calendar than the March rush, when every contractor in the Dayton area is booked out, and everybody suddenly wants the same thing at the same time. And if a section is already past saving, doing the demolition and haul away in October beats waiting until the subgrade is frozen solid. People also ask what can still get poured this fall. The answer is plenty. New driveway pours and walkway replacements run through late October and into November in most Ohio years, as long as the forecast gives the slab a few nights above freezing to gain strength. Patios and porches, same story. So if you want a new patio ready to actually use in spring, booking it now is far more realistic than trying to squeeze it in during April with everyone else. One more thing on dacers, and this one matters. Any concrete poured this year should not see rock salt this winter. Full stop. Fresh slabs need a complete season to develop resistance to chloride damage. Sand gives you traction without attacking the surface, and that's the easy answer. If you feel like you have to use a chemical product, at minimum avoid anything with ammonium sulfate or ammonium nitrate in it. Those break down concrete directly. That's not a maybe. So a reasonable plan for the next 10 weeks. Walk the property in the rain and note where water sits. Photograph every crack wider than a pencil line so you can actually track what's changing. Get the drainage corrected first. Repair and seal in September, and schedule any replacement pour before the end of October. Here's what I like about that list. Whether this winter turns out mild, wet, or completely ordinary, it holds up. Nothing on it depends on the forecast being right. You're not betting on El Niño, you're just doing the work that was always going to pay off. And if you'd rather have someone walk it with you and give you a straight read on what actually needs doing before winter, that's what we do. Give Concrete Contractors Dayton, Ohio a call at 937-939-2611. We'll come out, look at the property with you, and tell you honestly what needs work and what can wait. No pressure either way, just get it looked at before the ground freezes.